A very good evening to our audience. We apologize sincerely for the late start. We have some technical issues getting on with Dr. Ramayya in Guyana, but I think part of it is sorted out. He'll be on a telephone call at this point in time, only voice, and hopefully in the program later on, we'll see him as we continue our discussion. We want to thank our viewers for staying on with us, and we welcome you again. We want to thank Nohar Singh for making this platform available, and of course, Devin Bissu, our technical specialist. Today, we will discuss politics, oil resources, and local government. And we were also supposed to have with us tonight the Vice Chairman for Region 5, but he has COVID, we're told, so he couldn't be on the program tonight. We wish him a speedy recovery, and we hope that he will be well again to resume his duties. With us tonight to take us through the program is Dr. Veeresammy Ramayya. He was a former Member of Parliament for the AFC. Then he became Regional Chairman for Region 6 under the coalition government. Now he's doing a lot of different work in Berbice. Dr. Ramayya, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Charles, and thank Dr. Rose and the people on Globespan throughout the world. And it is my pleasure to be once again on this program. It is very unfortunate that for some reason I'm not an expert with this computer, and I was trying to get that people can see exactly what is going on. However, the message is important, and we are trying to work on this computer to see whether or not I will make that connection maybe in a short time. However, if not, the people globally can listen to the voice and the questions that will be posed and how well we can able to manipulate these questions and to give answers to what can be done for the transition that so far is going well since 2020 election. So again, thank you, Charles, and thank you, Dr. Rose, for this opportunity this evening.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Okay, Dr. Rose, welcome, my co-host.
Thank you, Mr. Sugrim, and welcome again, Dr. Ramayya.
Okay, tonight I want to change a little different, and I know Dr. Rose have maybe a question for Dr. Ramayya, but I think Dr. Ramayya, what I want to do is for you to identify what are the issues affecting the people of Region 6 specifically, but also the people of Guyana, and then what are some of the possible solutions, so we can speak on one issue at a time. I know the Vice President was in Potentia the other day, and I am so disappointed that this guy named Freddie Kissoon, he keeps saying that, the second time he's writing about us presenting in this program, saying that we can't be outside of Guyana and talk about Guyana. He thinks that we're still in 1950s and 1960s. We're in the year 2022, Mr. Kissoon. And technology is so advanced that by the split of a second, anything happening in Australia, in New Zealand, in Asia, in Africa, in Europe, anywhere, the entire world knows about it. So you don't have to be in Guyana. And for your information, sir, Dr. Rose is in Guyana, I think more than you. So we are there. We know what's going on. And we do have information every day of what is going on. But beside that, I know the Vice President, Dr. Ramayya, was in West Bank, West Emirate the other day, and he was saying that the oil contract, at one time he was saying it's bad, and then I think that changed to say it's not so bad. But what is the operative word? He said that the oil contract will be renegotiated, but not now. And my question, if you can help us here, Ms. Dr. Ramayya, is if the Vice President agrees that the oil contract will be renegotiated sometime in the future, what is stopping them to start it and doing it now?
Charles, let me, Dr. Rose and I, we share some common ideas. Remember when during the course of the presidency of Dr. Barajagdeo, that there was no oil discovery at the time when they were negotiating for the discovery of oil. So percentage-wise, the PPP was armless, or in a way they were not in a position to bargain for percentage-wise, like 14, 12% for the oil profit to be shared. However, during the course that dredging was started and during the collation time, the coalition had the greatest advantage of negotiating a better deal when the oil was discovered. And that is where I think the protest that is going on with Mr. Glenn Lal and so forth about that this government can renegotiate is not something that is that easy. When you have a contract with somebody by a previous government, the other person who signed that contract has to come on the table with the agreement with the current government before they can able to renegotiate the percentage, what percentage Guyana will receive from the oil. Yes, our president and our vice president can press the issue, but if Exxon, by the same token, they do not want to come on the table to renegotiate our part that we supposed to have instead of 2% from the oil. That is something that has to take a process. It takes time to go through. And I strongly can tell you, in the 2020 manifesto, the PPP party, they did mention that we're going to renegotiate the contract for the oil. But going into government is not as simple as people sees it outside of that context. It's not simple. So I don't know, to be very honest, I don't know currently what is being taking place in Georgetown with the Minister of Resources and how much the input with the president and the vice president is doing right now to get the Guyanese people to enjoy more benefits out of the oil that we are producing.
No, Dr. Ramayya, what I'm saying is that, and yeah, I agree with what you say, but I said the vice president stated in Wales that the contract will be renegotiated sometime in the future. And my question, hold on, Dr. Ramayya. The contract also says that it can be renegotiated if both parties agree. So has the government of Guyana given notice to Exxon? That's what people are asking. Simple question. I don't know if it's difficult, but the question is, has the government of Guyana give notice to Exxon? You know what? The contract says it can be renegotiated if both parties agree. We, the government of Guyana, is now presenting to you that we want to renegotiate the contract. We agree.
No, you remember what you said?
Put it on Exxon's plate.
No, but what you said just now, if both parties agree,
right?
If both you qualified it, if both parties agree. But that part of it, I will not be able to answer if both parties agree. But unless both parties agreed, the contract cannot be renegotiated. They have to come to an agreement.
Agreed. But I'm saying the government of Guyana should tell Exxon that, listen, on our side, we are 50%. We agree that the contract should be renegotiated.
So
let Exxon come and say no.
But let me ask you, Charles, I know. How do you know that the vice president is not negotiating that contract?
You have to make it public. And that's our problem we have. That's our problem in Guyana. We keep everything secret. I mean, look at that thing that happened on the East Coast with this guy who was killed by the police. The police doing investigation, and the problem in Guyana is that they don't give, an update on the investigation. So people get their own idea, and people sometimes they get excited and they get, they do the wrong thing. But if they're informed, people will know what's going on. We are totally devoid of any information. And that's the problem with not only this government, but previous government too. They keep everything secret. And the people of Guyana, whose country, what I like the president saying, he is the chief servant of the people. It's nice to say that, but when you're the chief servant, then you gotta listen and give people information too. And
But,
that's you know, it's all talking, but nothing of substance.
But will you agree with me that unless the government, I'm not defending the government, but unless the government has something concrete to go to the people and to tell the people what is there for us, you think everything should be revealed if there is nothing concrete to tell the people? I agree with you what took place on the East Coast. But again, police investigation, police has to thoroughly investigate a situation. And if people want to take it into their hands without all the evidence presented, then what do you expect the government to do?
All I'm saying, Dr. Ramayya, is give people an update of the investigation. All of that, it doesn't take a long time. Look here in the US, any part of the world, the police or the people who doing the investigation give an update, and the media are allowed to ask questions. That's it. You don't have to tell them everything you're doing, but at least give them an update of what's going on. We lack that. I mean, think of it this way, not this government only, but all the government of Guyana. Do we know how much it costs us to run our overseas missions? Here in the US, we have the UN, we have the New York consulate, we have the Washington embassy, we have consulate around the world. How much does it cost the people of Guyana to run these things? I don't think the people of Guyana even asked that question. Nobody knows. That's the problem we're having. People don't get information.
Well, as I said, I'm not within the central government in Georgetown, but at least if the PR or whosoever has to reveal information, I see it as something that it must be something concrete, that the government will come out there and tell the people what is going on. And sometimes, yes, they lack certain discipline with police investigation, which we'll probably talk before the program is over. But not everything that sometimes we put to the central government, that the central government is causing the problem. Again, we will have to be a little careful. Sometimes you go out there, you tell people about, just like you talk about renegotiating the oil contract. But if the government is not getting something substantial to tell the people what is going on between them and Exxon, they will not reveal what is going on. So you can have an opinion, and that your opinion can be right. It can be rational in this sense. But as I said, the way I know it, that the contract has to be negotiated between both parties who signed the contract. And in the first place, the contract that was signed, that is the time when the oil was on surface. That was the time during the coalition that the contract supposed to be negotiated to the highest pivotal aspect, that where our fair share should come then during the coalition when that contract was signed in Texas. That is all I can able. Beyond that, I think it has to go to the Minister of Resources and to the President and the Vice President of this country.
And that contract, and I agree, that contract should have a commission inquiry. Why did we sign a contract like that when the minister who signed it says he was instructed to sign it? Who instructed him? Those things are all quiet, and they just go into the back burner.
We have legal minds, Charles. We have legal minds probably looking into it, and I will tell you something. I trust the Vice President judgment and the President on this matter here. You're right. All Guyanese people, the resources of Guyana belongs to the people, and I trust their judgment that they will work in the interest of the country for our people, and that we can get a better deal for the oil. And I am paying it.
All right. Dr. Ramayya, before Dr. Rose come on, let's start with Region 6. What is in your view, what is the more pressing issue in Region 6 that top the list? Let's say you have 10 issues. What would be the number one issue that is affecting the people of Region 6? And not only tell us the issue, but what are the possible solutions?
Right now, infrastructure development is very poor. The infrastructure development, like building of roads, dams, streets, drainage and irrigation, those are pressing issues. And I want to address it from a different angle this evening. One of the things that has to be done, that although the NDCs, we got 18 NDCs in Region 6, and they are not functional. The NDC is an arm of the central government, and it is, in my opinion, is not functional. They are not going out there and see the problems of the people, and the work that is being done, again, is very, very much substandard work that is being done in this region. But drainage as a whole is a problem. It's not that the government is not invested money into drainage and irrigation, but on the local level, from the NDC to the RDC, the work is not properly executed and is not properly supervised. And I think because of this type of the NDCs and the RDC is a bad reflection, that as if the government is not spending money on the issues that the people are facing. Let me tell you what is going on.
All right, Doc. We know Dr. Ramayya.
Yeah.
We know the problem. I just identified the problem. What are the possible solutions to that problem?
Well, the solution are the people who are accountable for what is being done. If supervision is done, the work will be done. But people are given contracts and no supervision. And because of that, not supervised properly, we have, as soon as the rain falls, we got flooding. What has to be done here? Contractors have to show that a responsibility. So my question here to the RDC, that the engineers show their responsibilities to execute their job, to make sure that the contract is properly based upon the bill of quantity, that the contract is carried out fully, and that is not being done. That is being overlooked.
Okay, so that's the problem. But the solution: how do we get our engineers, who the engineer report to, and who can instruct the engineer to ensure that everything is done to specification?
Well, it has to come from the regional body, the regional council, the chairman, the REO. They have to ensure that the engineer go out. We have a lot of engineers in Region 6. Is more than one. I was the REO for Region 6. But the question here, the region, the engineers are not doing their job. Jobs have been...
I hear it. No, we can't keep regurgitating that. We know you're saying as a statement of fact that the engineer is not doing their job. My question is, who does the engineer report to? They can't report to the chairman, to the REO, to the regional body. They have to report to someone. Who do they report to?
No, they report to the chairman.
They report to the chairman.
They have to go to the chairman. They have to sign every contract that is done. They have to sign it.
So the chairman have to ensure that the engineer do their job. So the chairman is not doing his work. Is that what you're saying?
The chairman, the vice chairman, and the REO. Yes.
No, you got to be one. It can't be three.
Well, no, but these are the people in power who have to ensure that the engineers do their jobs.
But that's our problem again, Doc. That's our problem. We are now saying that it's the chairman, the vice chairman, the REO is responsible. Then they will put blame on each other and nothing gets done. So the question is, the engineers who are supposed to ensure that the scope of work is done and the quality is maintained, they have to report to someone. And that person who they report to also have to go and verify that the work is done. Maybe through they can delegate someone to do it. But when you start saying that everybody is responsible, nothing gets done.
I'm not saying everybody. They got you have the chairman, you have the vice chairman, and you have the REO. Those are people in authority that can demand reports from the engineers and can go and inspect the work to make sure that the work is properly done before the work is signed off. Those are the people who got power to make sure that the work is done, and that is lacking.
Again, we having that's where management problem comes in, because if you put one person to report to 2 or 3 different people, you'll never get things done, and that's a problem in Guyana right now. Dr. Rose, Dr. Rose, you're there? We lost him, Devin? I think we lost Dr. Rose. Okay, by the time I know the internet in Guyana is so bad.
Yes,
It's really,
it's so bad. It's really, really bad.
Yeah.
It's high and low all the time.
Yeah,
No,
okay.
Charles,
Continue. Yeah, go on, Doc. You can go on now, yeah.
No, let Dr. Mike continue, because we have a blackout here. For 50 years, this country still have blackouts. What are the governments doing? Over 50 years, blackouts, we can't complete blackout. Okay, I think
you get back light now. The hotel do have a power generator.
Yeah, the generator now came on. The generator came on from.
Okay, anyway, Doc, go on.
You hearing me, Charles?
Yeah, you go on, Dr. Rose.
Yeah. Before I ask the questions, I want to just give a prelude of something I want to say. One of the things I want to say to all Guyanese, including the members of the cabinet, is that for the One Guyana initiative to be successful, everyone, including members of the cabinet, must stop addressing the people of Guyana as Indo, Afro, or Amerindian Guyanese. We must address each other as Guyanese first and foremost. Leave race out, ethnicity out. Treat people equally. Everyone must be treated equally, irrespective of race, color, creed. And people must be treated with respect at all levels. Stop all discriminations. Respect the trade unions. Respect the rights of the workers. Provide tangible.
Dr. Rose, let me say the ethnic dilemma in this country is not going to be fade away just like that. It takes time. We have to grow into that culture. And to grow in that culture, it needs time, it needs education as well.
Dr. Maya,
yes.
Let me finish. In this crucial period of the development phase of Guyana, all Guyanese are needed at home and in the diaspora. No one will be left out, including everyone in the interior as well. Their voices must be heard. And this giddy expression and selfish sentiments from some who said the Guyanese in the diaspora should be left out because they ran away when times were bad in the country, my response to them is no response. And anyone who berates one race or treat Guyanese in the diaspora as second-class citizens, their writings are themselves guilty of dividing the country. To them, I offer my sympathy. Now, Dr. Ramayya, I want to go back to the oil contract and some very, very quick questions. Do you believe that the contract, especially 2% royalty, is good for the people of the country? That's a simple answer.
No, it's not good.
Okay. Do you think ExxonMobil is treating Guyanese fairly, or the government fairly, or the country fairly, knowing fully well
they are exploiting our people. They are exploiting the situation.
Dr. Mike, let me finish the question first. Knowing that 2% is the lowest royalty signed by any oil country in regards to oil. Oil contracts or royalty range from 6.5% to 15%. So you're saying that ExxonMobil is exploiting Guyanese?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think the people in Guyana should benefit directly from the oil resources in direct cash going into their hands?
Well, no, I don't say that, Dr. Rose. It got to be a source of, if we go to the government and assume that we have honest ministers and honest government, I think they can divide this money. They can know in an equitable way what Guyanese people need and provide for them. the amenities of life. And if you can't go directly, that the oil company will do that. We have a central government, and the government should shoulder the responsibility, especially like what the government is doing right now. We have to give the government credit for what they're doing right now. So the government should take that initiative. If let me assume that a 10 billion US dollars should come from the oil, that the government should take that initiative, like the school grant, find jobs at $40,000, and these are initiatives that the government needs spending. And so I think the central government should handle the resources to divide the money accordingly to the needs of our people and to make provision.
Okay, except for Rosal Tongue.
I can't hear you, Dr. Rose.
I think Dr. Rose just got this thing with the internet there. Dr. Rose? I know this internet system is miserable in Guyana. It's so bad. Anyway, by the time Dr. Rose coming on, Dr. Ramayya, I was doing some research on it, and the engineers report to the Works Committee.
Hello?
Okay, you're back on, Dr. Rose.
No.
Yeah, but you were disconnected all the time.
We have a 2-lane highway in the quarantine, and the roads all over. Deep, deep potholes. The government is proposing to have a 4-lane highway when there are no traffic jam or no traffic backup in the quarantine. Dr. Ramayya, do you think a 4-lane highway is worth the while?
No, Dr. Rose. At this time, 2022, the traffic that we have, contingency plans can be used, and we don't need a 4-way highway. Only on certain hours in the morning, Rosal is a little congested, and during the course of Friday and Saturday, Portmore is congested with the market. Other than that, what we have is not being properly sustained with repairs. And if the lanes, the 2 lanes that we have, all these things that they have on the side, and people come and occupy up to the edge of the road, there is a road where people can ride their bicycle, but again, the businesses occupy a great portion of the road on both sides. And if that is cleared up, I do not feel that if we service the current road, I was in Skellen Saturday night, and I tell you, it is extremely bad. And if we can service that road and properly sustain that road, then it will suffice. At this stage, with the amount of vehicles, Georgetown, because Georgetown got a lot of vehicles, we do not need a 4-way road. And if you want to get a detour in Rosal, it doesn't make sense because most people on a short drop. How are they going to get drop off to get to the destination? So I don't see the feasibility of a 4-way lane right now.
Okay. Now, what I'll be saying now is most shocking to Guyanese in Guyana and all over the world. Region 6 is the most governed region in all of Guyana. It has 3 mayors, New Amsterdam, Rosalton, and Curveton. It has 17 NDCs, more than Region 4, which is the most populated region in the country. And yet, there are a number of problems in the region. Flood takes place constantly because, as you know, Dr. Ramayya, the trenches and the canals are not being cleaned. That's one. Number 2, I'll ask you to address this problem. Number 2, the NDCs, they're being given a government cash grant of $5 million, but they have no say in how that money is spent. The RDC and the government direct people to go and do development in those regions, the NDC regions, so that the people in NDC can't identify their own problems. The government or the RDC does it themselves. Dr. Ramayya, I want you to address those 2 issues.
I will absolutely agree with you, Dr. Rose. It's not that the money is not coming to the region. The money is coming from the central government, and all government jobs like trenches, contracts are given out for the entire year to clean the trenches. But as I said to Mr. Charles Sugrim, the question is the supervision. These people are not cleaning the trenches. And maybe the people, the minister, they don't go and check the work. They're spraying the grass, and the roots of the grass left in the trench. And afterwards, the regional HIMAC and so forth has to go and clean it out, and which is not fair because people are being paid on a contract to clean it for the entire year, and they are not doing the job. That is what I am talking about on my programs constantly. The work is not being supervised. The question is, you're talking about the drains, then got the SIP workers. Now the government put the $40,000 a month for people out of jobs to have a bread on top of the table. The question is, who is supervising? One NDC right at whim, 25 people one day walking, 8 persons sat there. There are work to be done. It's not that the money is not there. You talk about the subvention, and I agree with you 100%. The subvention is supposed to be used by the NDC to identify also what work has to be done, but not for the region to send their contractors or who they choose to come. Let the people, and this was done during the coalition, that subcontractors should come from your own NDC community, your own area. Like, for example, what happened in Eversham to build a toilet and to do work to do some repair in the school or the community center. It's supposed to be done within the people of that area to create jobs. But here, I do not know why the central government, the RDC, has to send contractors to do contracting work in an NDC. And this is where the system is not functioning. And if they listen to what I have to say and follow the instructions as to how it should be done, we will not have this type of flooding. We will not have this type of flooding. This skullduggery has to stop. And this is why I am very vocal on the local issue here, Dr. Rose. And I am talking about this constantly. And you probably, you're looking at the Facebook and you saw what I am doing here. So again, if the region should step up and put their feet down, I think we will get things done, and people will not have all these ill things to say about Region 6.
I want the government to know this, and I want the people of Guyana to know this. I'm from the Macedonia Joppa NDC district. That's from number 35 village to number 43 village in the quarantine. People might not know, but it's just past Rosal, Women, those areas. And right now, as I'm speaking here, the NDC in office in that region they're changing the zinc sheets on the roof. And the RDC, I was told, hired a contractor from Skell Curvaton, which is about 25 miles away, and brought people there to work there. And there are people in the villages right in that Macedonia Joppa district who are carpenters. They have no jobs to do. But the RDC is bringing people from outside to work in the district. I'm asking the president to stop that practice. It is wrong. It is wrong. It is wrong. The people in those districts, in that NDC district, they are good carpenters. What it takes to change things, why you have to bring someone from outside and give them a contract? I have to personalize this because it's an insult to my intelligence to know that this is happening in this day and age. That people are there, carpenters, and they brought some guy from Skeldon, 25 miles away, to do the job. And the people in the district don't have any say.
Dr. Rose, I absolutely agree with you, what you're saying. And I highlighted these problems, and it's for the Minister of Local Government, Mr. Dharamlal, should look into the recommendations that I'm making. And if money is coming to get work done, but as far as I am concerned, and I don't know if you will agree with me, it's not the central government, the president or the vice president is creating this problem? Is the people within this the region is creating this problem? And if the president or the minister does not know what is going on, and you're right, who is going to inform them? The people. The people, just like somebody come to build a street. The bill of quantity is not given out to the people in the community. So these contractors come and roll out some crush and run and throw some tar on it, they just disappear. Less than a year, the road is gone. Now, who is going to be blamed? The money is given out to get the work done, and the work is not being done and is not properly supervised. And this is what I told Charles. The work is not supervised. It's not that we don't have money to build up Region 6. And you know what I'm talking about because you're here, you experience what is going on, and you just outline some of the problems. Just like you mentioned about what's happening in the hospital. You outline the money is there, but they get the work done. How the work is being done, if the work is not being supervised.
Here is very different from you, though. I am not blaming the government, but it is the federal government, it's the national government responsibility to have people on the ground goes on. If you're telling me this country is small, we have a government, and they don't know what's going on the ground. Now, people are reporting this, and no action is being taken, then I'm saying something of itself is wrong with the government, because the government knows that these things are going on in the NDCs. Now, let me turn to something else for the moment, Dr. Ramayya.
Yes.
Suicide is very high in the quarantine. It said Blackbush Police is suicidal capital of Guyana, I can't say of the world. Tell us what's going on with suicide rates in the quarantine.
Dr. Rose, there is a lot to be done in terms of education. Yesterday we got another murder at 47 village at 24 years, got murdered by the ex-husband. We are not getting enough education, and I think this should be a part of our curriculum in the school, the high schools, about suicide. Pregnancy in high school is another problem that resulted in suicide. Drinking at a young age is a problem in our country. The process of the stakeholders, like the families, are not playing a pivotal role. All the religious organization has to play an important role, Dr. Rose. And we need more community development groups, which we don't have. Even play fields, we don't have. Recreational facilities in Region 6 is not there because, and this is not a government problem, but the educational problem, I will say, is a government problem. Rain is falling, you don't have playgrounds, you don't have nowhere for recreation. So all these are combined forces. But what there is a lot of access to drugs and drinking and abuse. How can we stop the abuse of alcohol and drugs in every corner? So we have to get committees set up, how to get into certain areas, like you identified Blackbush. We got 3 suicides right now in upper quarantine. It's not Blackbush now, it's upper quarantine. How do we have to set up centers? And the centers now will be something to help young people. Now, if we do not have a hotline, 24 hours hotline, how people are going to vent their concern? Now, the police stations, I was told this afternoon, Dr. Rose, that this woman that was killed yesterday by the ex-husband, she was stopped before and she went to the police station and they did nothing to apprehend the husband. I am not saying this is going to be avoided, but why the husband was not apprehended the first time? This is the report I got this afternoon. Now, in every situation here, when we're talking about people committing suicide, people committing murder, we have to get an active police force. And I think you and I, we discussed this, that now we can take people, put them at the back of the counter in the police station, and get those police officers to go and apprehend people outside. Now, that is not happening. We now have a police force that is proactive at this stage. Sometimes they say they don't have vehicles, and all these things are contributing factors when actions are not taken by the people who got power to do it, like police, teachers. Things are not being reported, Dr. Rose, so to speak. And those that have been reported, nothing is being done. So how do we expect, if we don't have centers, we don't have communication level, how are we going to talk to these people?
I want to say this.
This is the problem.
I'm in Ghana. I spent 5.5 months in Ghana last year. And so far this year, I'm over 5 months already. But I go there to do some research on every aspect of the country. And what I discovered is that 1 in every 6 schools in Guyana have recreation facilities for the kids to have to go out and exercise themselves. 1 in every 6 schools.
Well, you cannot blame me. I mean, who are you going to blame? Is the rain condition? We got so much rain. The cricket fields are even harsh racing, Dr. Rose, with people find little comfort during the holidays. They can't even have that now as a recreation for the people who go out on August, Monday, and April, and so forth. But the grounds are not like what we have in the stadium. But the facilities are there, but again, it needs to be renovated. When we have good weather, we can go because it's all clay and it gets soft, it gets muddy, and you know this. People can't go out there. So we have to provide some facilities other than the playing cricket here in Berbice is dead. But other than that, we have to look for alternatives. And what are the alternatives? We have to build centers now to give people an opportunity to go there. The internet service is like in Blackbush, Dr. Rose. There is no internet service. There is no internet service. And one of the problems that we have today, everybody is exposed to this Facebook, and they commit suicide, and I'm going to show people outside how to tie the rope and so forth. I mean, you have to understand how the world is going right now. So there is so much to be done, but little is being done at this stage. And one of the things, we need a hotline number in Berbice. We need a hotline number, 24-hour hotline number for people with abuse and police report and suicide attempt, whatever it may be. And I will tell you another thing. The government does not know how many attempted suicide we have in Berbice. It's not been reported.
Charles, over to you.
Okay, Dr. Ramayya, I was just informed, and that as I was telling before, when Dr. Rose was off, is the engineers report to the works committee of the region, which is headed by the vice chairman. The question is, Dr. Ramayya, is the vice chairman of Region 6 an engineer?
No, that is my problem.
No. Okay, that's one question. The next question is, any member of the work committee of Region 6 or any member of the work committee engineer?
No.
So you have a works committee who have no engineers, and they're overseeing the work of engineers. See where our problem is?
Double standard.
No, that is baloney. How can I oversee your work as a doctor and I'm not qualified in your field? That doesn't make sense.
Well,
and that's the problem. That's the problem with our politics, is that the region, not only Region 6 alone, Region 5, we're sorry the Vice Chairman, Region 5 couldn't make it today. Region 3, Region 4, you name it. They have the same problem. So we have a works committee that has to ensure that the work is done properly, and none of them on the committee throughout Guyana, hopefully I'm right, are not qualified to do that. But yet they sign off that the work is properly done. That is our big problem.
I think you get that part wrong, Charles. The work has to be signed off by an engineer. What is going on from the time the work begins? The engineer is supposed to see.
What I'm saying, the engineer, Dr. Rose, Dr. Ramayya, the engineer has to report to the works committee. Is that correct?
He got the report, but the engineer only can sign off the work, not no vice chairman.
But the thing is, the works committee, the vice chairman who has the work committee have to give the final signature. But that person have no knowledge of engineering work, but still he has to sign off.
Yes, he got to sign. Well, the system is set up that way. They have to change the system, Charles. Anyway. They have to change that system. But the engineer by itself, the engineer, I know that I was there. Sometimes engineer don't go and sign off the work. The vice chairman sign off the work. And that is wrong. Problem. And I put a hold on those things. And the same practice is going on right now as well, as far as I am concerned. And this has to stop. And if any work should go wrong, I don't think anybody in the works committee, though they have to put their signature for payment, the engineer is supposed to carry the responsibilities of his signature and the work done. So the work is supposed to be supervised stage by stage. But in most cases, the engineer does not go and see that the amount of work and the bill of quantity that's supposed to be placed on that road, the engineer don't witness that. And this is one of the... But again,
Dr. Ramayya, the engineer cannot be all the place. So the works committee are made up of a number of regional councillors. And they're the ones who are supposed to go out to ensure the work is done properly. And as Dr. Rose rightly mentioned, I mean, you're having the NDC, and you know what, we got to give credit to President Ali. For the last 2 years, he's the only president, I believe, that I can recall has gone out so many times across Guyana, and all the ministers are going out. What bothers me is that the problem continues in the region, even though the president is taking his ministers throughout the country. The problem still exists, and Region 6 is a classical example. So my question to you, Dr. Ramayya, is corruption part of the equation?
Charles, I will have to agree with you. The corruption is here. But again, I'm saying this. If I should ask from the RDC level, when last the NDC as a unit, they walk around the NDC area and see what is going on. They don't do it. They don't do it. As a group, they don't go out and check what is happening in the community because they are handpicked. The question is, this is when the local government election should come here. We have to ensure that the right people are in the NDC who can help to develop their community. And that is what we don't have. In an NDC with 18 members, sometimes don't have a quorum to keep a meeting every month. And it's a problem that is going on, and I have to subscribe to what you are saying. It is true. So we have to change the methodology of the NDC, and we have to put our foot down. The other question, Charles.
Now, before you go to the other question, Dr. Ramayya, sorry. What is the solution to bring this down? What is some of the recommendation you will recommend to the president, to the vice president, to the minister of local government? What would you recommend to them to bring this fiasco to an end?
We need more supervision. We need more transparency. We need the board, the tender board to function. And we should not call people and give them a job. We should go through the process to give qualified people the work to be done. A lot of unqualified people are given jobs here because they are not going through the tender board. The process is not being followed.
Basically, you're telling me everything got to be fixed. Nothing is working. No,
it is working. But on an emergency, they just get their own favorite people. And I talked about this here on my television program. I don't have any repercussion of saying that. But more, if transparency has to come, we need more supervision and more people to take complaints and to act upon it. And once those complaints can be expedited, I think we will have more work done more efficiently, and let the people of that community, if the work has to be done, let them have a say, a bill of quantity in the community, and let the people also see that the work is being done satisfactory, I'll stop the work.
Excellent recommendation. Good recommendation.
That's my recommendation.
And they will get value for money, hopefully, with that. Now we talk about quality of work, we talk about engineering, we talk about suicide. What is the number 3 problem in the Region 6?
We have the Blackbush, the rice industry. We have about 12% of people planting rice, and it's affecting about 70% of the people living in that community. The tractors, the combines, whatever they use, all the streets are damaged, the dams are damaged during the rainy season, and nothing is in place that these people with their machineries, that they can take the machinery and put it at a center point, that they will not come within the community where there are other people living. Right now, you can't even walk in the streets of Berbice. So there is a big problem here with the farmers, and many of them hated my guts for the same thing. The rice farmers are taking advantage. They are like the big sharks swallowing the small fishes. And you cannot say nothing because right now, even the public roads, and I think Dr. Rose, being in Berbice so often, he experienced that, he witnessed that, the mud coming out with this tractor with the cage wheel. They park lawlessly on the public road. You can't do nothing. A lot of accidents were made as a result of that. That needs to be fixed. And the other question that you asked me here, the road getting narrower and narrower for what reason? People now are building, taking the reserve from the yard, from the front of the yard, right up to the public road, cast it and put posts across so you can't park anywhere in front of their premise. All these are lawlessness that is going on. And one of the biggest problems that we face here, Charles, that we have so many sanitary inspectors in Region 6. They give a blind eye to the reality of the problems that we have. And the other question that needs to be fixed here, noise nuisance, is extremely bad. I have endless complaint about pensioners, 86 years, where they can't sleep in the night. Loud music. So the environment has become a very disruptive one. And all these things now, they have to expedite it, and they have to take more legal action. The police got to be more proactive with all these people who are lawlessly parking the trucks, the combine, and the public road. So all these are hazards for all of us. So this is a growing problem, is an everyday problem for people in Berbice as a whole.
And Dr. Maya, yeah. let me just interject this for you to tell our listeners this. At the wedding up in Blackbush Polder, people could not have traveled on the road, they had to travel by boat. To go to the cemeteries, tell our listeners what happened to those dams to go down to the cemeteries for burial.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, the few dams that I know, even Babujan, there is a small road you can't park on both sides. It's bare mud. The one that this father was died recently, 105 years. Even the grandchildren and the family members couldn't go to pay the last respect at the burial ground. It was all mud. You go till by your knees.
We lost Dr. Ramayya.
Dr. Ramayya, are you there? Dr. Ramayya?
Okay. Yeah, Dr. Rose, Berbice seems to have a whole lot of, as you rightly said, they're the most governed region throughout Guyana and still seems to be one of the most, I don't want to use the word corrupt, but if the RDC is bringing people from Crabwood Creek to do a work 15 miles away, 25 miles away, that tells me that they maybe most are getting a kickback or they're giving family members, which is cronyism.
But this
yes, I am here. I'm connected back, Charles.
Yeah, okay, Doctor. Continue, Dr.
Now, Dr. Rose was saying about most of this, the dams to the burial ground is in an atrocious condition right now. And it needs to be fixed. And again, it's all because of the tractors with the cage wheels. And people, they don't have the concern anymore. They don't have concern for those people. Even the burial ground is not secret anymore. They're throwing beer garbage all over in this place. And that is something that I am working on. I am talking about it. But again, we have to get respect for our dead. And if that is not being shown, something is wrong with us. That is something sacred. That is something we should cherish. But if you come to the burial grounds, you will see the amount of garbage that is being dumped on the burial and the graves in the burial ground. I don't know what else can I say, but it's not. It's something that is the people. It's not government. It's the people. The people are not taking the initiative to keep their environment clean. Even the drains are being clogged with garbage. And this is something that I don't know how we can penalize people to do the right thing. This is my problem.
All right, Dr. Ramayya, we have Mr. Joe Passad, who is watching the program. He said that the Blackbush polder project was meant for water transport for paddy and so on, because the bridges, that's why the bridges were built high, so the boat can pass under. And I think, because again, maybe the drains are, the trenches are maybe filled with grass and so on, so they have to use the road, which is also not very good, and that's why you see in the Blackbush Road,
well,
there's
look,
so much
we
mud.
have reached, well, in the 60s when Dr. Jagan opened Blackbush and Tapakuma and all these places, I mean, it was meant that they will use boats to bring out their paddies. But maybe technology has reached a stage now that all those are time consuming and maybe is more cost effective. Using tractors and trailers and get the paddy to come on the trucks now. They got things, you dump the truck and you fill the trucks now. You don't have to bag it off anymore. You take it in the truck, big trucks, and it goes by the rice millers, and you wait. So things are different.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, Dr. Ramayya, what I'm saying is that the roads were not built to take care of those farm to market road. They're not built for those things, and that's the problem. So when the rain fall, it's a whole lot of, Well,
as I said, if the technology is here now, the government has to be sure that a road supposed to build to take 20 tons of the weight of the truck. You can't build a 5-ton road and 20 tons are going to travel on it. This is a problem. So, but we have...
That's Dr. Ramayya, that's not the only problem, because you're having 2-axle truck carrying 12 tons, which is, that damage the road even worse. So, these things, Guyana seems, as you just mentioned, we are dumping garbage in the cemetery. How low can we get? And these are Guyanese, when they come to North America, they have to observe the rules. If not, they get fined. In Guyana, they think they can do whatever they want, when they want, how they want, and nobody's doing anything about it. Nobody, because it's somebody's cousin, it's their friend, or the guy vote for us, we can't trust him, and that's our problem. We look at the voter base, and the whole country is disintegrating because people are doing whatever they want. Look, I just saw recently 2 minibus crashed head on. A girl lost her foot. You're seeing her bone on her foot.
Don't talk about that, please.
Huh?
Go ahead.
I'm sure people died here. So we're in a serious problem in Guyana.
I cannot disagree with you what you're saying. I'm an advocate for those things, but again, I have to get the support. And if I get the support and you take a few people to the court and they pay a fine, you will see how quickly things will change. But nobody is being prosecuted for all the crimes that they committed in terms of the garbage, the dumping, the throw things all over the place, come out of the cage wheel on the road. Right now we have a bigger problem. We have the scooter bike. And 5 years old are riding on the public road and 6 years old. There is no control with the scooter bike right now. So if you hit one of them, then I got a license, then I got a helmet, what is going to happen? So yes, there's lawlessness here. But the question here, we cannot go back in the 60s if the government know that people are going to bring out price. And this is, I know what they're trying to do. They get people now, they do an expansion of 58 village. They build a road going in there for new expansion. But the question is, they have to build roads. They both cannot facilitate the kind of party that we're growing today. In the inception, yes, they don't have so much a rice field to bring out Allah's party. But now there's growing concern, and the boats are not going to work to bring out party because number one, who is going to clean the trenches, the canals, and so forth. But the government will have to now design roads to facilitate heavy-duty vehicle with heavier weight, just like the bridge. If you got so much weight, you can't cross Berbice Bridge. Now, all these things got to be in place, Charles, and I am hoping that if our government can renegotiate the deal with Exxon, that we can have money coming in from the oil, which is the biggest resources right now, apart from the gold and diamond and so forth, that we can able to sustain Guyana. And I will tell you something, Charles. I mean, time is running out. But I will tell you something. For the last 2 years, the things that I have seen here, whether, yes, we have corruption. There is no government, you don't have corruption. But for the last 2 years, that the government is carried through with certain programs, we have to give them credit for that. We have to recently, I will tell you, I spoke to a lot of people who received the $30,000, Charles, for the school grant. Now, when the government had a $10,000 school grant before the last election of 2015, what happened? The coalition stopped the money. Now, there's a continuation here, and again, not everything that we're going to say, well, the government is bad. I am not defending anybody. I'm the last person to defend anybody. But credit is due where it is due. However, I'm telling you here, in 2 years from now, before the next election, each child will receive over 50,000, and that was in the manifesto. Now, things are happening on a positive note, but I want to put the record straight for you and Dr. Rose. The central government meant well. The people below the central government is causing the government to have bad name. It's not that money is not coming to Berbice. It's not money is not going to Region 5 or other regions. But how it's being spent. How it's being spent. Because if you get a contractor job, the person who give the contractor job, the one back a pull back from the contractor. So the contractor will give you substandard work. This practice must stop. And it has to stop because I'm exposing it. And you're right. The corruption is here, but I will not blame the government for the corruption. But if you want to say so, they're overlooking at the top from the bottom, so they have to take some blame as well. But if I am reporting,
Dr. Ramayya, the buck stops somewhere, and the president is in charge of everything. So if the president, all his outreach, is not seeing what is going on, then the president have to relook at what's going on, because things are not going well. And this is only Region 6. What happened to the other regions? I presume the same thing.
No, I say all the regions get problem, but I think Region 6, based upon what I know right now, is done. Region 6 is worse than Region 5. And I don't know much about Region 4, but I am doing mostly the work in 5 and 4, but I'm 6. But most of my time I spend in Region 6. I want to see this region. I want to see things happen on a positive note. And I can see positive changes, but it has to come now. with your 2 feet down, and the buck has to stop right here. That if there's a complaint, you have to take this complaint seriously, and which I do report. But again, if it's not followed, then we have a problem. And it will continue to be a problem. And not only that, Charles, let me put this record straight, it will affect the government in times to come for the next election. They have to deliver, because this is a problem. And I want to see that they deliver.
Well, Dr. Ramayya, we are not calling out any election. I think what we're calling for is we want to make recommendations for solutions, not to who will win the election. That's not our responsibility.
No, but I mean, this is how a government should operate.
Any
party, for example, if you assume government, you're for all the people.
Yeah.
You're for all the people.
Yeah, Dr. Omar, let me say this. We are not anti-government. We are highlighting issues affecting people in the region. And I hope those listening in the government will take this in good stride and not accuse us of being anti-government. We know we're being accused by APNU as being anti-PNC, anti-APNU. And we are being accused by the government being anti-PP, anti-government. But what I could tell both major parties, if we are robbing you or you think that we are attacking you, then we are doing something very good. So I'm saying to you, do not think we are anti this or anti that. We are highlighting the issues. I'll come to APNU just a Dr. But let me say this. Every government should make sure that the boards and the committees they establish across the country should reflect the ethnicity of the population. In Region 6, this is not happening. 97% of the committees there have one ethnicity on the boards. I've done the research. I can pinpoint them to the government if they contact me. I've done the research in a number of regions, thorough research I've done across this country. And Region 6 do have problems, but all the rest of regions have a number of problems. And let me say this clearly to everyone, to all and sundry. There are certain NDCs that are not pro-government. They're from the other party. The government gave out cash grants of $4 million. Certain NDCs are getting it. It's sent to them. The other NDCs are told they have to apply for it. And I found this across the country, not only Region 6, across the country. And this is not good for this country. We cannot have a one Guyana initiative to be successful if we don't treat people equally. We have to treat everyone equally, irrespective of who they voted for. That is a democratic right to vote for any party of their choice. United Nations article, I think is 145, stipulates that. And they should not be recriminated against by the government. People have a right to vote for who they want to. That is their right. But you don't come and discriminate against them because they voted for a different party and not your party. So I'm saying, yes.
Yeah, let me go
ahead and say this. One board in particular, and that is the local government board in WIM, Central Quarantine, that distributes public assistance to people. That board comprised of one ethnicity. And it interviewed 3 board members, and they told me in plain terms, this is a PVP government. So all we must be from the same board. 3 board members told me that. They can go and lie, I didn't tape them, but they told me that to my face. So I'm calling on the government that the boards, not only Region 6, across the country, should reflect the ethnicity of the population. And that will be a one Guyana initiative to strive on. One ethnicity cannot develop this country.
Dr. Rose, I want to commend you and Charles, because this Globespan program every Monday night, that you pick up information, and if the government works on this information, you will see a lot of transformation in the country. Now, the question of the committees, You're 1,000% right, and I do hope that if the government, the president or vice president, if they are listening, that some people in one committee, they're in six different committees, and they're handpicked by the same people. How they will function in 6 or 7 different committees, the same people. They are not going on a broad base to get people outside of that circle to be in the committee. And what you're saying there has a lot of truth, and I can prove that. That too many of the same people are in all the committees, and they can't function in one. The other question is that you highlighted that anti-government is not an anti-government program. This the way I look at it and the way I view this program. This program now is to send a direct message to our leadership of this country that if something is wrong, look into it and fix it. And this is what you and Charles are doing for the past years, is to fix the problem that both of you have good intention. Otherwise, you would have not come here and spent 5 or 6 months every year because you love Guyana and you want to contribute to especially Berbice now, that I see you put in a lot of work. And this is magnificent. The more you criticize somebody, we want to correct that criticism, that when you go back to this program, something positive, there is improvement. And this is why I feel that you should not be criticized to say what is, and you're right about the board. I was told that about people with public pension. If people are going to get public health, it should not be, it should be on the merit of the doctor prescription. The doctor write up this person to get public assistance, but the board deny because the person is black. That should not be. The board is not in authority, just like Charles mentioned. If all these people in the works committee, if they're engineers, no. The same problem that we have in the board, that's with public assistance. And that has to be changed. The rationality, the mechanism got to be changed, and they have to put more people and make it more diverse. That you know, should I look at Indians or black or Chinese, but people based who are qualified. One person amputate a leg. They went to the person's house. Oh, you get a big house. But the person got no food to eat. The person built the house when he had both legs. Now the person got one leg. And this is wrong. This is wrong, and I subscribe what you have to say, Dr. Rose. You and I, we have a lot of discussion on these social issues, and it's affecting not only blacks or Indians, but it's affecting the development of this country. As you said, we should not say ethno-Guyanese or whatever, or Indo-Guyanese or Afro-Guyanese, one Guyana. And that is what you want to see. That is what I want to see. And I think that's what Charles wants to see. And that is what the people outside want to see. And there are so many sub-projects that we can work on. But again, the mandate has to come from the top. I always say that. And I hope...
Let me interject and change the topic now. President Ali, in his generosity, in his gracefulness, extend a hand to opposition leader Mr. Norton. And Mr. Norton refused to shake his hands. Yeah. What are your comments on that?
I will tell you something. The president is the president. And we had a wonderful relationship when I was in Parliament in 2011. But when a leader of a party who is representing 34 or 35% of the population, a president with all humility...
Well, in actuality, Dr. Ramayya, in the last election, you had over 48% of the vote, so you represent 40% of the population.
All right, okay, whatever it may be. When a president extends his hand for a shake and you refuse, I want to know what message Mr. Norton sent to his supporters. When, in fact, that whenever the president or the vice president, they go out in black communities, the reception they're getting. I am just wondering if Mr. Norton is looking at those meetings, that these people, when they go out there, the reception that they're getting from the communities. When you refuse that, Dr. Rose, to shake somebody's hand who is a leader for a party, then you cannot lead. It shows you the vindictiveness of this person. How you can lead when the president, the president did not refuse to shake his hand. The president gave him the hand to shake. That could have shown leadership, and as you and I discussed, he could have made demands there that I want this for my people. But he did not do that. It is to show the shallowness, and you cannot be a leader, and you can never portray yourself to lead other people, and you cannot win the support of your enemies in doing those things. And this is the weaknesses of the PNC right now. This is the weaknesses of the PNC. When you have this arrogance that you cannot live and take Guyana forward, how they will go into parliament and how they will be in a racial way, you're gonna take this country forward, Dr. Rose. It will never go. If you're gonna divide and rule, it will never go. We have to work as a unified force. You just mentioned that is one Guyana, and we should not address people as Indo-Guyanese or Afro-Guyanese, as Guyanese. And you're absolutely correct. And this is one of the ways to go forward. But what Mr. Norton did there is not to take Guyana forward, is to step back and take Guyana in a different direction. And this is where you have, like what happened on the East Coast, is people like what he did there is injecting the wrong ideas into the young mind. And that is how, as a sociologist and as a political student, I can tell you that is not acceptable. That is not the norm. That any leadership, the charisma is not there. And that is my opinion about the whole thing, Dr. Rose.
All right. And I think we come into program time, and this is, for information, this is the second time the opposition leader is doing that. And I think the first time the president almost had to force him to shake his hand, and then the second time he bluntly refused. I think that does not, the optic is miserable, and I hope that the people in the PNC leadership will speak to him and let him become a better leader. So, Dr.
No,
Ramayya,
I don't want it. I don't want it. No, Charles. I want to correct you, Charles. I don't want the party people. I want the population, the supporters, to see the difference between leadership. I want the people, their supporters, to see the difference between leadership.
All right, we've come to program time. Anything in close, Dr. Rose, anything else before we close?
Dr. Ramayya.
Dr. Ramayya, anything in closing statement?
Well, Charles, I will tell you something. Maybe although I couldn't get through this, the technology is too new to me. I will tell you something. This program is helping Guyana and is educating our people. And I don't want to discuss what I discussed with Dr. Rose, that I want to see people from the diaspora to come back and be good leaders, because we say Guyana is brain drain. And I think this program is bringing justice, and I hope the government will take it otherwise. It's some rough questions sometimes you ask, but you meant well, and Dr. Rose meant well. And I want you to continue to bring different people and to tell them about our country and the growth. And I am hoping that this program will become an eye-opener to any government, not only the PVP or PNC. Any government should come and ascend it to power in Guyana, that this program will be an eye-opener for them to be transparent, and accountability should be there at all times. And I want to thank you for this opportunity, and the people out there. I mean, I was not fully prepared this afternoon because of this confusion here. But the people out there, I want to wish all of you the best, and God bless every one of you.
Thank you, Dr. Ramayya. Dr. Rose, anything closing?
Yes, a number of things. First of all, I will ask both major parties to table a motion in Parliament to discuss dual citizenship, to allow people to function from the president right down. As long as you're born Guyanese, you should be able to become president, even though you migrated. John McCain was born in Panama on the army base there, but he's still considered an American because he was born in the army base. His parents were Guyanese, or Americans. He born in Guyana, but abroad. Some of us went without us kids, little kids. But we have a law where you can't come back and serve as a member of parliament or be a minister in the government. So I'm asking both major parties to table a motion to get rid of this clause, that as a Guyanese, you can come back and serve in any capacity. Because I can tell you this, I can call a number of presidents in the United States who lived outside of the United States more than living inside the country and were presidents. But people don't know this. Go back and look at American history and it will show that. 2, I'm calling for the retirement age to be up from 55 to 62. I know they said it will stifle youth employment, but no, at 55, people have a lot of experience. They're leaving the country. As soon as they retire, they're gone. We need that experience in the country and that education in the country. 3, I'm calling for salaries, wages to be increased for teachers, nurses, police officers, and public servants. As Charles, you said, how much you said, Charles? 1,000 US a month?
At least.
I'm saying at least 150,000 Guyana dollars a month. And 3, I'm calling for better internet services. And I'm calling on the government, please stop this blackout. Please stop the water shortage. I was up to quarantine. Water shortage running for 3 days. People can't get water. Blackouts running for days up to quarantine. What is happening? How are we talking about development when we can't solve these basic questions? I was told for over 50 years now this country is having blackout. And nothing has changed. And every government campaign, we're going to end the blackouts. And every government comes in, it's getting worse. Go up the quarantine. You will not have water 3 days, and the days you have water, it run for 2 or 3 hours. And not only quarantine, the country parts, it's the same thing. Or reality is the same thing. I don't understand why this is called the land of many waters, and people don't have water. Come on. We have got to solve these problems. These are basic, fundamental things we have to solve. We can't move ahead unless these problems are solved. So I'm calling on all those in authority to work to solve these problems. 785,000 people, and we can't power them 24 hours a day without blackouts? What are we doing? Those are my beefs, my pet beefs for tonight, Charles.
Okay, and before we close, the Oil and Gas Network, OGGN, will be hosting a discussion this weekend on Liberty at the 126th Street on Liberty in the Mandir. In the basement, we'll have Dr. Vincent Adams, we'll have Professor Kemraj. We'll have some really great presenters. So if you live in the New York area, please come to the OGGN discussion. There'll be a lot of information there. Dr. Bulkan will be there. Christopher Ram will be making a presentation as well. So if you're here, please come to that program. It should be very interesting. And we want to, again, encourage all Guyana. And as Dr. Rose said at the beginning, let us try to drop this Indo and Afro prefix before we say Guyanese. We are Guyanese by birth. We have different ethnicity. We need to celebrate each other's culture. But at the end of the day, we are all Guyanese. And if we can do that, I think that should be a great start. Also, for us to be dual citizens and hold public office in Guyana, that will be part of the constitutional amendment. So I hope in a new constitution, that article will be removed so that Guyanese who serve any part of the world, if they want to come back home, they should also be given the opportunity to serve in public office, elected public office.
But that can be amended without the constitution.
A two-third majority in parliament.
Yeah. Two-third majority, yes.
I just received a note here from a former board director, I'm not going to call his name, who has served many years in Gaisuku. And he's telling me, Dr. Rose, you're right. Gaisuku has 15 board members. I served there for many years. And to my disgust, there's only one Afro-Guyanese. But don't tell about Afro-Guyanese, say Guyanese. But he mentioned it, one Afro-Guyanese on Gaisuku board. I don't know if this is true, but this gentleman said he was a former board member for a number of years.
And that's not a good optic because, you know, we need to, the president wants one Guyana. You can't have 15 board members. One was a Portuguese. Well, he is now resigned. And if 13 are of Indian origin, that's not good. Those are things that we need to look at. Anyway, I want to thank all of you again for joining us tonight. We hope the program was great. Dr. Ramayya did an amazing job in giving us the problem in Berbice and, of course, some of the possible solutions. Now, those are only recommendations. The government will have to implement it if they want to, to follow those recommendations. And Dr. Ramayya is right there in Berbice. They can always contact him to give. Dr. Rose is in Guyana. They can also contact him to get their view. So again, we want to thank you for being with us. God bless our great country of Guyana. God bless us all. And until next week, you'll see. Don't forget this Saturday for OGGN meeting on Liberty Avenue at the Mandir.
And we should thank Nohar to make this program possible.
And Devin Bisu, our technical specialist.
That is so true.
Yeah.
And to all our listeners,